Hello, folks, and welcome back to the RPG Lounge. I'm actually doing a quick tutorial guide on nuclear power and Satisfactory. This is one of my favorite factory games, and I do play these on the channel. Eh, well, not so often lately. I haven't been uploading a ton. But when I am playing video games, it's usually a factory game. Either this one or Tectonica or something else. So let us go ahead and hit the continue thing. I wanted to do this because there's a lot of great content creators out there and doing great jobs on some things. I very rarely see just a small scale, let's take a look at nuclear power and how to set it up and do all that kind of fun stuff. So I might as well do it for you. So I will take us to my my test facility. I have one nuclear power plant right now up and running. So it's a great time to show you just the simple setup. Once you get the simple setup kind of figured out, you can upscale from there. That's probably the easiest part, is being able to upscale. But once you got to get it all figured out first. And that can be the painful part of this. I took a while to just study this, figure out how to do it, and make it actually work without completely destroying my base, because there's a lot of radioactivity in nuclear power. Go figure. So I guess step one, and I'm going to show you where I am on the map here. I am in, I believe this is the, I think it's the grasslands here. It is basically the suggested easy mode, I guess, just beginner friendly area to start your game in. And we are up here. Kind of almost, I don't know, this isn't really the center of the map, but it is up in the hills, but part of that grasslands biome. Now if you get to this spot here, there's a cave, creepy cave here. And actually inside of this, deep inside into, I think it's the right, is your first thing that you need to find for nuclear power, which is a node of uranium ore. And yes, it's very radioactive, so you're going to have to figure out a way, either craft yourself, I think there's a hazmat suit basically in the game that you can unlock, use the MAM, or do what I did. I just brought a level 3 miner. I went as far away from the spot as I could. I just placed it, because you can just aim like a machine pretty far away. I mean, if I'm doing like this. Now, if I had the pieces for it, this would go green, and I could build it. So I saw it, and this is a far enough distance away that you're not going to get completely irradiated by the uranium ore node. But you want to do that. That's what I did. You chuck this on, and then I belted it to a spot on the map where it wasn't going to bother anybody. Now, when you find either this place or wherever your uranium spot is, if you go here on the map, this is actually a pit, a bottomless pit that you will die in. So of course I created a factory on top of it. Yeah, and I put the nasty bits as far down as I possibly could. So once you have your uranium belted in, let's go ahead and look at the recipe. Now I'm on keyboard and mouse, so I hit the O key for myself and bring up our recipe thing. All you have to do is go to the search here and go uranium. There we go. So let's look here. What do we need? Well, if you look at a nuclear power generator, it'll tell you it requires uranium fuel rods. So click on that. Okay, let's see what's involved with making one of these. A manufacturer. We need encased uranium cells. We need encased industrial beams. And we need electromagnetic control rods. So I'll show you where I have those. These, you should probably, by the time you're doing nuclear power or attempting it, you should be already making encased industrial beams. I think they're part of the elevator parts checklist. If you don't have these things already or unlocked or are working on them, you're not going to be able to do nuclear power right now. It's just that simple. All right. So, but this, the encased uranium cell, is not something that you likely have on board. So let's click on that. Open in Codex. What does that take? It takes our uranium that we've got coming in already. It takes concrete. And it takes sulfuric acid. So the big thing with this is break it down step by step. Did step one. Now, step one is finding a location for me, but so we'll say step two was getting the actual uranium ore. Those are kind of one and the same because I probably would have been stubborn and belted the uranium from wherever it was on the map over to this spot because I really like having an underground base. It's kind of cool. Not gonna lie. So we go in here. Looks like a mess, I know. But all of this stuff is used for making nuclear power work. Go figure. It's that complicated. This is why I wanted to make a tutorial for y'all. Because it's just... It's cool when you get it all done, but it's pretty ridiculous as to how much stuff you need. There will be some fog in here. We're actually in the middle of a foggy... Well, pretty close to the death plane of the game. So this is kind of the, fog that they have here to... I guess make you feel like you're, I don't know, in a horrible place, which you kind of are. All right. So, where is that uranium going? It is going to this manufacturer, which right now we're getting irradiated slightly. So we're putting our sulfuric acid, I have coming up from the top there. Sulfuric acid coming in. I have our cement coming in. It's also going, it's actually going to this and another later stage of our build here. But that's making the uranium fuel cells that we need. And then they go up this little elevator thing to the next floor. So we have our uranium fuel cells. Yay, that's great. Now remember, we have to create the uranium fuel rods, which is this is the next step. So we take that encased little uranium little fuel pellet thingy, and we bring it up to the next floor. And what you'll have to do is, I mean, if you could probably make this stuff on site, or you can just make it off site, I guess, too. But so you're gonna need your encased industrial beams, and you're gonna need your industrial. Where's my control rods? Oh, there they are. Your electromagnetic control rods. You're gonna need those, and you're combining that in a manufacturer to make your fuel rods, which I'm collecting and using. But don't just belt that into your nuclear power plant and turn it on. Bad idea. So manufacturers are used for this spot. I'm gonna make sure of what this is down here. This is and it'll tell you in the instructions as to how, when you're wanting to create the stuff, but this is a blender that we're using for that first step. Alright, so now we're like, oh yay, fuel rods, woohoo! Now this is where I would actually, put those fuel rods in a safe place. And then, which I did, I melted them into a box over there. And from that box it goes up to our 3rd floor. So we'll go up there in a second. And eventually I'll put an elevator in here. I just haven't really had time to do it. So, okay. Fuel rods are over there. So we are belting those fuel rods into our reactor. Great, awesome, fun. But as you can see, you see that little canister there? We'll check the next one. There it is. That is uranium nuclear waste. You are now creating a radioactive death trap if you don't get rid of this. And you cannot put this in the Awesome Sink. The Awesome Sink, if you're not familiar with the game, is a means by which you can trade items for tickets, and the tickets you can unlock mostly cosmetics for building. There's a few other things here and there that you can get, but the majority of it is the cosmetics, all the different various beams and platforms and all the foundation shapes and things. It's really nice to unlock it all. So I say don't turn on the nuclear reactor because we have to figure out how to deal with this. We can actually treat the nuclear waste with several layers of treatment to get it into a form that we can put into the Awesome Sink, which means we have to turn it into plutonium. We got plutonium somewhere. Where is it coming from? Come on. There's a layer of I think radioactive something over there. All right. So what do we need? This is where it gets a little bit pain in the butt because we need our nuclear waste. We need a blender, that's the machine over here. We need silica, which you create silica from raw quartz. You stick it in one of those little constructors. So it's easy to make. You can make it in mass pretty easily. So you need that going in. And then you need two acids. You need nitric acid, which is this my nitric acid. Oh, good, I guessed right. Nitric acid is fun. Nitric acid is nitrogen gas, water, and you need to put iron plates in it. And you put that all in a blender, and it becomes nitric acid. Chucking that in there. Got sulfuric acid, sulfur, solid sulfur, ore, and water. Sulfuric acid. So you pop those three items plus your nuclear waste. Yay, put it in the blender. Once you get out of the blender, there's something called non-fissile uranium, which means in normal speak, it's just non-reactive uranium. We've taken the majority of the radioactivity out of it, so it's going to be slightly radioactive, but we still can't get rid of it. And they'll create that plus some water. And it's not a lot of water, but it is a little bit of water that just pops out of this process. You can recycle that somehow or use it in some other part of your factory. But to completely turn it into plutonium, we need to go to our next area here, which is over here. So we need our waste that we've got here. So nuclear waste. And we have one other thing. We're taking that non-fissile uranium and belting it into one of my more favorite machines in the game, which is a particle accelerator. So you're putting that waste plus the non-fissile uranium, you're belting that into your particle accelerator, and out comes plutonium pellets. Yeah, or not plutonium. What is it? Yes, plutonium pellets. If I'm correct. Is this where? Yes, they would go down there. So we can go down here. Oh gosh, hopefully we won't die. Come on, get away from the radioactivity. Yeah, I don't have one of those really cool suits yet, hazmat suits yet. I have not unlocked it, and I've gone through the whole game, so all the missions and things like that. I'm just stubborn and I don't feel like making the hazmat suit. So, yeah, ho hum. So what you'll do is that's gonna make these pellets, uranium or plutonium pellets. There's one final step. Now the plutonium pellets, I'm pretty sure. I mean, we can even test it if we want to. The plutonium pellets you can actually take and put those in the awesome sink, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Plutonium pellets. Yes, the pellets you can. It's but the next step would be to make these plutonium energy cells, which is basically a repeat in many ways of making the uranium cells. You're getting yourself this concrete, you're encasing that plutonium pellet with that casing, and that's going to go up, and I'm actually going to make plutonium fuel rods and continue up the ladder, because there are 3 stages of this nuclear power stuff. There's the uranium, which is the one we're explaining. There's plutonium, which is the next step in my little construction and factory building. And then after that, you can take those and turn them into fixonium fuel rods, which I believe do not create any nuclear waste. Which that'd be great, because I'd be very happy about that if that's the case. If not, I'll just recycle it, but you can't really the only step you could probably skip if you want to just end with these plutonium pellets that we're creating through the particle accelerator. You could just do that. You could stop here and set up an awesome sink, pop them in there, and you're gonna get lots and lots of points for tickets. It'll be just fine. It'd be okay to do that. Or you can take it on to the next step, which I might go ahead and explain the next steps in another video, but I really wanted to do this to just show first the immense amount of stuff that you actually have to do just to get one of these reactors going. Now I can upscale this because I'm making a ton of fuel rods. No reason that I couldn't upscale this, and then I can deal with quite a bit more of the waste product. In fact, I probably at some point will do that. The only other thing you do have to belt in to your nuclear power plants, and this is something they added, I think it was a while back actually, was there is a water requirement now. So you're gonna have to find some sort of pure water, or just get a water pump somewhere and pipe it in from wherever. That's probably the least difficult of any of the requirements for this. The rest of it's just a lot of steps. So I guess my big thing is to really, for one, realize this is a big project. So find somewhere where you can just, spread out, use as much room as you need. Don't be afraid to just kind of go crazy with it. Really commit to it, obviously. I would find a location where you have a good chunk of the, the items you kind of need already. Let's pop out of here through here. I was fortunate enough that I had the uranium on one side in that cave. And then I had my sulfuric acid over here. My battery facility is right over here that requires sulfuric acid. It has a ton of water underneath at the base. There's a pure water node right under here. I was able to get the nitric acid from a deposit that I have way over there, and that's actually coming in to my facility. So I was able to get a lot of the stuff that I needed fairly easily. and the rest I was already producing in my main factory other places. Um, all the concrete's coming from a node that's right on this little ridge here, so there's a nice little concrete node. Put a level 3 miner on that thing, and boom, you got your ability to make all the concrete you could ever want. And everything else is just ugly belting. I mean, I'll make this all look pretty at some point, but a lot of the times I don't really care. I just want to make it work. And then I'll make it look nice. So this is all belted in. These are actually the industrial beams and the electromagnetic control rods that we're using for the nuclear production process. This is all being belted in. It's actually from a facility way the heck on the other side of the map. And while I'm doing this, I'll show you real quick where we are. My next thing is to probably create some teleporters in this in the game, because they did add those to the 1.0 release or 1.1 release. So you can make them. They take a lot of power though, but probably are worth it. I mean, it chucks you all the way across the map almost immediately. So can't argue with that, honestly. I still like these tubes. I'm kind of partial to them. So I've just used them for so long. And it's a nice way for me to see what's going on in my factory. A lot of times I'll pick up on little oopsies that are happening in my factory that I need to address. But, so yes, so rest of my well, this is the rest of the main facility factory, or factories, because they're all kind of components all connected together with all these various roads. There's actually a truck that goes from here to here, but the resources that we're getting for those nuclear things actually coming from the factory all the way over there. It used to be well, it still is. It's a steel facility, plus it's a huge coal-producing power plant area as well. But that's one of the main things I had to belt pretty far, but I don't really mind doing that. The belts they're reliable. One, they don't take any power to use, and you don't need like batteries or anything to do that. It just keeps happening and working and producing, and you just can kind of set it and forget it if you want. Most of the time, I use a ton of drones as well, and those are usually pretty much okay. But yeah, if I can belt something and it's not too crazy to do so, I will do it that way. It's the way I'd like to do things. Alright, it looks like we might have a problem here. Yeah, looks like it. Alright, something stopped up. Looks like we made... Okay, we're good with our time crystals, it looks like. It's not making its dark crystals anymore for whatever reason. Oh, did we finally max out on stuff? I think we did. I think we maxed out on the final component. Let's go look. Let's go look real quick. Which I've already put the final component. Yep, we did. Box is full. Alright, cool. So the final kind of fuel rod, I believe, well, I know it takes dark energy, which is something you'll unlock a little bit later, but it also takes 2 of the final space elevator parts, I believe, to create. So at least it'll give a purpose to all that stuff. And then eventually, I'm going to use that as a huge item, like storage facility for all the items in the game. It'll make it look pretty and all decorated. It's not finished. It's going to eventually be a pyramid, but it's way down the line. For one, I'd like to get my power to a point where I can put in lighting and stuff. That's really why I wanted to unlock the nuclear power. Is I haven't really concentrated on putting any lights in any of my factories. So I use my little headlight on my character to do all of that. But it would be really cool, just decorative wise, to have all the lighting and stuff like the big YouTubers do, and make it look kind of cool. So, but yeah, it's kind of an overview of just a simple way to get one reactor up and running and to deal with the nuclear waste. Because it's great to have the extra power of that nuclear facility, but if you're adding waste and just putting it into boxes somewhere, you are setting yourself for a really, really bad problem. And it won't take long before that box is completely filled with, deadly radioactive substances. And then you're trying to figure out, well, what do I do with this stuff while you're getting irradiated? Which isn't a fun position to be in, honestly. But I will leave it at this. This is actually the second time I had to record this because I made a mistake in my facts last time, so I wanted to be sure to correct it and get it re-uploaded. But folks, take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your day, afternoon, morning, whatever it happens to be for you. And this has been the RPG Lounge with a just quick little guide to the nuclear power first tier system in the game Satisfactory. You take care now. Bye now.